If you have an ability to roast and you start there, you're bean to bar, and it just gives a little bit more local sense to chocolate. Whenever you open up a bar and you don't know where it's manufactured, how it's manufactured, you lose a bit of that local sense. It becomes more of a global or nationwide feel.
In a very basic, simplified point of view, what does bean to bar craft chocolate mean? Just so that we understand it better and we can say, is it as simple as a one sentence answer, or is it far more complicated?
It's far more complicated. It's in itself a little bit selfish in my opinion. The only reason I say that is there's a lot of benefit from employing those who work at origin to also manufacture the chocolate. And that's something that we'd be interested in down the road. We just can't afford it. So right now we take all the effort, all the energy and time to do it here in St. Louis. But yeah, it's a really fun process, but you do end up taking a lot of the credit where the credit isn't necessarily due. A lot of the credit's due for the fine cocoa farmers at origin.
What is the definition then of bean to bar? Like, what? Help me understand what it actually means.
So in our industry, it's wherever you receive the dry, unfermented cocoa beans, and you roast them up to. Well, you don't even have to roast them. There's some companies that do raw cocoa, but what you're doing is crafting this flavor and this product. You're manufacturing a product that otherwise wouldn't necessarily exist. So in our industry, bean to bar literally down to its sense. Some journalists and editors, just if you have an ability to roast and you start there, you're bean to bar, and it just gives a little bit more local sense to chocolate. Whenever you open up a bar and you don't know where it's manufactured, how it's manufactured, you lose a bit of that local sense. It becomes more of a global or nationwide feel.
Got it. So the beans come from somewhere else. They arrive under your roof, and that everything happens under that roof. So beans come in, bar comes out, but it all happens in the same roof.
Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it's traceable.
Yes.
That's also very important for our products.
Could you imagine down the road having a reality show that kind of promotes the work you do and all the trial and error and all the flavors? And because it sounds like it's a heck of an adventure, and it sounds like every bar has quite a bit of a story behind it. Would that be yeah?
If not for us, I could see it for any other chocolate maker that exists. San Francisco is a very big hub for chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I could see any of those makers having some really good content. But yeah, it's an exciting and bittersweet industry that we work in. So we try and uplift everyone in the supply chain along the way.
So when I'm at a Whole Foods or any high-end retail grocery, so many craft chocolate bars to an average consumer might look very similar. Mm-hmm. How do we break down the differences between bar X, bar Y, bar Z? Is it an ingredient list? Is it if I'm looking at 9 bars, mm-hmm. How do I know the difference?
I love the idea of when a consumer looks at a list of 9 bars, they instantly go, is it dark milk or white? And if it's dark, what percentage do I like? And then from there, you go into this dialogue with the consumer when they try your product. But it really does start with what the consumer likes. You can't necessarily force an 85% bar down a consumer or onto a consumer that enjoys, a white chocolate. But yeah, you look at the ingredients, lecithins. There are some good makers that use lecithin just because it makes the product easier to work with, but it does make it less of a clean label product. So yeah, you look at the clean label for the nutrition. You are going to look and see if it's single origin to check to see where the cocoa comes from, just because it does highlight the farmers work a little bit more. There's some big makers that combine origins because they have, you know, more of a fruity flavor versus more chocolate forward cocoa bean. So they combine them, but I do find that it kind of does take away from the efforts that do happen, you know, earlier on in the supply chain.
I'm assuming the trade show world is something that either you like doing or it's a necessary evil, but what kind of lessons have you learned to optimize your success at these trade shows?
I've only ever been to one non-chocolate, larger organic specialty food expo. So that was Expo East where I met you,
Wow.
and it was quite interesting. Normally, I've been to a lot of chocolate conferences and expos, and everyone, for the most part, is somewhat educated on what craft chocolate is and what they should be looking for. But at that festival, you know, you or at Expo East, you get a wide variety of buyers. You get a lot of people wanting to do business with you, but not necessarily give you revenue. They want your money too. So it was a wide mix of customers, and a lot of the customers, especially on the East Coast, it was exciting to see those who surprised me and said, "Hey, yeah, you know, I know of Rocca Chocolate. They're on the East Coast," and a variety of customers that maybe didn't fully understand why our price point was so high. The main goal of why we went to that show was to try and find more buyers, find individuals who were able to help distribute, help sell our product to those who might be more of a fan.
Got it. And did you find some opportunities while you were there?
Yeah. We met with a distributor who works with Whole Foods in the UK. So nothing has completely come of that contact yet, but some fun conversations, and excited to see if we can get our product, you know, in the UK at some point. But you know, otherwise, just a lot of small boutique shops and a couple larger stores there in Philly.